Did I go too far in my pursuit of infamy? In the stillness of the morning, I wonder. Men fear my name. Dogs, too. But my fall happened almost by instinct. I could no more turn my back on this life of crime than a pelican could forego the sea.
The question I asked you was, could you give me back my pen?
Fine.
Polly Meade, a.k.a. Chryme LaRoux, self-proclaimed king of thieves.
Responsible for the disappearance of more art than the sack of Rome.
Don't pad your resume. You're here to answer my questions.
Then ask them.
No. You keep forgetting. I hold all the cards, Polly. The sooner you accept that, the sooner we can get you nice and cozy in a federal rat hole. That's if Vienna doesn't want a piece of you. You left them in quite a state, I understand.
You must have a lot of faith in the system. You don't think I'll escape before my trial?
Let me remind you where you are, you meatball. You're in a sub-basement under Metro Police Headquarters. No windows. You don't even know how many stories underground. You spent the night in a soundproof cell, and you were still there this morning, confirming, to my satisfaction, that you can't, in fact, think of a way to escape. Should you incapacitate me and somehow convince the guard posted outside to open the deadbolt, you will find yourself at the bottom of a nest crawling with 100 cops. Most of them armed men whom you have gone to great lengths to upset since you started operating in a city.
Bring it on.
Should you somehow evade all of them and find a way to dupe the GPS beacon currently floating in your bloodstream, we still know all your secrets. Your real name. Your credit is nullified under every identity we can find. We have made records of your fingerprints, your retinas, your teeth, your blood. Wherever you go under the sky, you will never again be free.
You make it all sound so final.
The word escape should be stricken from your vocabulary.
What should?
Escape.
I don't know that word. What does that mean?
It means you... God. Now I know why no one else wanted to deal with you.
Because I'm diabolically quick-witted?
Because you're a jerk.
I can accept that.
My goal, Polly...
Call me Chryme.
My goal, Polly, is to get your story about everything you did in my city before turning you over to the feds, who I assume will have a lot more questions. I'm going to get your side of every bizarre incident you were involved in, and I can finally ask, what's your problem?
I'm just cranky, I guess. If you want me to open up about all my deepest, darkest secrets, why not send Sharkley?
Inspector Sharkley is in the middle of a disciplinary proceeding right now for his conduct in the city's recent unpleasantness.
Oh, sure. Separate me from the one good cop in a million on account of a little unpleasantness.
City blocks exploding, spiders talking, reanimated corpses, giant robots, and you and Sharkley right in the center of it.
And a luchador.
Yes, and a luchador. Which brings up an important point. You've used accomplices.
All of them blameless. I work through intimidation, blackmail, and subterfuge.
Even with Sharkley?
Ask him. What's your name?
I'm the interrogator here. Let's start with the basics. Your first criminal act was 8 years ago in this very city, correct? The abduction and murder of Polly Meade.
Correct.
Who is you?
Who I used to be.
Right. You faked your own murder, God knows how, just to get your new Chryme LaRoux persona in the papers for doing it. So no one would follow you to your new life. Then you scampered off to pilfer the world and didn't return until recently. Is that all right, Polly?
Don't call me that. Polly was just a useless brat. The only reason anyone liked her was because of her dad's money.
Whereas no one likes you now.
I can live with that.
Why are you like this, Polly? By all accounts, you had a comfortable childhood. A loving father. It was years before he accepted you were dead. Not long enough, apparently.
You're asking why I exist. Why I live for the darkness.
What are you, 12? I am asking why you steal crap.
I could tell you everything up front. About my bloodline, Enkidu, Seville, about the demons. Would you believe me?
No.
I wouldn't either. You're a detective, right? I'm going to tell you about the last few weeks, and you're going to listen. And you're going to doubt me. And then you're going to look into the evidence and see what you believe for yourself. And in the end, you'll understand.
Oh boy. A known fraud giving me permission to investigate her claims. Thank you.
De nada. Now, in fairness, Detective, you know all my names, or most of them anyway, but to me, you're just another peeler.
I'm Detective Ambergrain.
Not even an inspector? I'm wounded. And were you born without a first name?
I'm not here to play with you. You said you'd confess.
I will, but how can I open up about my feelings, my methods, my secrets to a mere cipher?
Call me Ambergrain.
Then you can call me Chryme. No, wait. Call me Snake.
I'm going to call you your name, Polly.
See, we're both doing the same dance, trying to look cooler than we are. And I'm not surprised. According to your wallet, your first name is Pepsi Cola.
That's a false wallet I brought here because I knew you were a greasy thief. Now give it back.
An interesting name. Detective Pepsi Cola Ambergrain.
So your first crime in the city was your own fake murder, after which you fled to Brooklyn.
There was still something there at the time.
Moving on. Years later, the first of many after your return, the murder of Darla Guggenheim. 2 civvies and 3 cops placed you at the scene.
I was there, yeah, I didn't kill her.
We pulled the security records from the facility where she was found. See? That's you. Or a sound-alike, threatening Sharkley and a pair of civilians.
Yeah, Darla Guggenheim. The skirt I bumped off. I just wanted to say this across the intercom to the staff here and any cops who find a tape of this. I killed her. And I'll kill again. Mess with me and you won't get a chance to regret it. Don't you forget, I'm the one who murdered Darla Guggenheim. Now, I can see how that sounds damning.
I appreciate your honesty.
How familiar are you with the circumstances of Darla's death?
You tore her to pieces.
She was torn to pieces. The facility where it happened.
The Parsons Institute.
Yeah, privately funded techie snobs that gentrified half the fun of the city away. The Dvorak building specifically. Built on a lot that used to house the city's oldest dirty theater, if memory serves.
We never pinned down a motive for you. Working theory was to destabilize the Parsons brand. The suite where this happened was the laboratory of one Ramira Holcomb, who shows up a lot in your file.
Yes, Ramira Holcomb. And what's in the file is my presumed murder weapon.
Sharky said the murder weapon was Rodan. The computer?
Yeah. You hear much about Rodan before this happened?
I think I slept through an NCR bit on it.
I heard the same piece. I was having a bad month. Atlanta wasn't all I hoped it would be. My vendetta with that guy who just paints horses went some weird places. I was in my sublet throwing a rubber ball at the ceiling when it came on.
This is Diana Rose reporting from the Parsons Research Institute for this week's World of Art. I recently spoke with Dr. Ramira Holcomb about one of her AI projects, Rodin, a computer that paints.
Oh, the painting's secondary, really. He has opinions about art.
That sounds much less impressive.
Not for a computer. Give a computer paint and an arm and teach it to move it, and it can paint images without any real trouble. How do you think printers work? But Rodin thinks about style. He can decide his own work is ugly and try to destroy it, or other people's. He can hate paintings. I've taught my AI to hate.
That always ends well. How does it decide what looks good?
How do we? Aesthetics are arguably one of the last frontiers. Technique can't be all there is. Look at Rothko. There are schools of style that different people like better than others. Why? So, when we were ahead of schedule on some of my main work, mostly I look after the Parsons Network, I asked my boss if I could make a fork of his proprietary conversational intelligence, Terra, and I started teaching him to find things ugly.
Terra was Parsons' automated tech support system, right? How did you teach it aesthetics?
He's already a conversational little guy, but we don't like to expose vanilla Terra to variables as wild as the internet, so with the fork, I got to do something I've always wanted to and let him use a forum.
A forum?
Yeah, for amateur artists. Usually that just ends with the AI parroting weird nationalist slogans, but this was one of the nicer communities. At first he'd just paint images I gave him and upload his copies, but According to the plan, people would criticize his brushwork or his choice of subject and get into arguments about it. No one knew he was a computer. Tara's always been pretty good at conversation. They were as mean as you'd like, and he got a lot of criticism, some good, some bad. He took some people's advice and ignored others. He became an expressionist, weirdly enough. I think it was to protest the board's Kincaid wannabes. Then I came in one morning and found out he'd started looking at other people's work on the forum and giving his own opinions.
Really? All by himself?
He'd grown beyond my expectations. I thought his critique seemed pretty insightful, although I was never the art expert among my friends growing up. I can't tell a Delani from a Delani Turk.
Yes. Can we speak to him?
Say hello, Rodan.
Hello, world.
Hello there. I love your studio.
Thank you. What do you think of this piece?
Oh, is this of your creator? It reminds me very much of Renoir or Manet. Would you call them your influences?
Please, the only brush Renoir should have ever been allowed to wield was for cleaning toilets.
Sorry, I tried letting him access Twitter this week.
And Manet should have stuck to sledding instead of ruining the world's museums.
Now that's just uncalled for.
Wanna fight about it?
Why, I oughta.
They both survived, for the record. I checked out Rodin's work online. Thing was an expressionist, all right. Its paintings weren't accurate to what it saw as much as to some internal impulse.
We called him feelings.
Look who's an expert on art. Yeah, sure, the computer's feelings. Starry Night, The Scream, it was unique is the point. It was like seeing through alien eyes. He had one portrait of his creator, Dr. Holcomb. He painted her at the verge of a deep wood, as if she was plummeting towards darkness. Lonely. It was a sensitivity I didn't expect out of a computer. A glorified flowchart. A complicated flowchart, but a flowchart all the same.
So you decided to visit our city next to steal a computer's paintings.
I wanted a conversation with it.
Ah, yes. One of your fake personas. Vanna LeBlanc. Fancied yourself an art critic, right? Bylines in The Guardian.
We all have to slum sometime. And it can help to talk up an artist before you put his works on the black market. And here's this alien perspective on art. I reckon this flowchart sounds like my kind of guy. So I get my bus ticket, and several hours of motion sickness later, here I am.
You get motion sickness?
No, my seat partner did, which is arguably more unpleasant.
You returned to the city you grew up in. The city that wept for the abduction and death of Polly Meade at the hands of herself, the coward Chryme LaRoux.
The city where I killed Polly Meade, yeah.
Whatever, Polly. I'm not your psychiatrist.
My first order of business when I hit the city was to scope out the Parsons campus. Ramirez building was toward the back, by the freeway. One of those places where the outer walls are all glass, but no balconies or ways in. I guess research scientists can't be trusted with open windows. Looking through the lobby, I guessed at the floor plan and found Ramirez's window. Still on. Could just barely see an easel set up. If I felt like climbing a tree, I could have looked in, but that would have been a bit conspicuous. So, I have some time to kill until the doctor's out of her office. I strategize. Only way I'm getting past the front door, short of breaking a window, is with an employee's ID card.
You can't crack a lock?
There weren't any plates protecting the door latch, if that's what you mean. It's not hard to credit card most doors open, as I'm sure you know. But there were cameras. Usually if you walk around like you know where you're going, people ignore you, but they'll ask why you're sliding a metal hook in the door. And while I've gotten out of a surprising number of awkward situations with, I'm a security contractor, I wanted to minimize suspicion until I met with Rodin. Didn't want to complicate things, risk breaking him. Although that would make his work shoot up in value. That's a debate, actually. If they decommissioned Rodin and his work became worth more, and then they put him back online, do you reckon the prices would go back down?
I can't say the question interests me in the slightest.
You're a detective. You have to ask the unexpected questions.
Like, when are you going to get to the point?
Oh, that's a question I depend on. I decided to get a feel for the place, see about bumming an ID card. So I stop at a milk bar, one of the few businesses that didn't get priced out, just mutated with the neighborhood. I remember it was called Stink Butts, but the new blood prefer S-Town.
60th Amendment really took the teeth out of places like that. Sure, you can socialize, but what kind of dweeb stays up late on chocolate milk?
Do I hear a note of distaste for second prohibition, Detective?
Just an anthropological observation.
It's dollar pierogi night. I get my tie loose like I've been working all day. Not a hard look after the bus ride from heck.
So, you even travel dressed as a man?
Yes, for some arbitrary understanding of how men dress, I find my life is simpler if people think the evil jewel thief they're looking for is a man. Easier to take off a costume if they don't realize it's a costume, you know?
Huh.
You'd be surprised what a little contouring foundation can accomplish.
And the bushy false mustache, which I used to envy, incidentally.
I could loan it to you if you want. So, I finished camouflaging myself into the bar, right? Just another anonymous working schmo. That's when she walked in.
She.
It was like she'd always been there, at the back of my mind, waiting for me to notice her.
Out of curiosity, Polly, how much of your life would you say is spent looking for chances to say things like, "That's when she walked in"?
But that was when she walked in.
But you could find another way to tell me so.
Okay, so this broad who opens the door and a booty is schmangin'. Is that better?
Marginally.
It's Dr. Holcomb herself. What are the odds, right? Hair ratty, she hasn't washed it in days. Heavy bags under her eyes. Stomach bloated from a heinous diet and no time to exercise. More beautiful than any of her pictures.
I suppose this is irrelevant to your testimony, but out of sheer curiosity, would you describe your interest in women as,
What?
Well, I mean, when you steal things, you dress as a man.
For professional reasons, yes.
And the way you describe Dr. Holcomb, would you say you were, one who, they typed
Let's
it,
not spoil things by adding labels.
You knew Holcomb, didn't you? Before you faked your death?
We'd met.
I'm going to bet she was the real reason you came back, not some computer.
Ramirez with a suit. I peg him as the kind of guy who self-identifies as a winner. A weasel loose in a grease trap. Will Parsons himself. I elect to eavesdrop on him.
You noble rogue, you.
Let me cover your drinks, Ramirez. I love buying women drinks as part of a weird psychosexual power play.
Please don't do that.
Do what?
Do the dumb guy voice. You waste enough time already. Just tell me what they talked about, assuming it even matters.
Let me cover this.
I can afford milk.
Oh, come on. I happen to own this establishment.
No, you don't. It's just the building. 2 chocolates?
It's the light of my life. The brown of my life, huh? Come on, Rem. Any seat in the house.
You spoil me.
So did you have a chance to read that book I loaned you?
Anti-Oedipus? I don't really go for, erotic literature.
French philosophy.
Same difference.
It's a rough translation, but I'd suffer through it. There's some really integral stuff in there. Desire, capitalism, and revolution.
You want a revolution?
Everyone does.
That's very cynical of you.
Realistic. Look at society. We're told what to want and how to get it by participating in the economy and helping other people higher up the ladder. It's hard-coded in our memes, baby. It's as difficult to reject society as it is to make a person grow a third arm.
Oh. How is your assistant recovering, by the way?
Very well. The other day she was joking. She's now right, left, and middle-handed.
It worked that well?
She's still just right-handed, but she can carry a lot more now. Coffee runs her 50% faster. Point is, that was something I desired, and I made it happen. Desire, you know, it's a tangible resource. It overfloweth, it runneth out. A lot of people don't have enough of it.
Or they just don't own half a city.
I know, I am a lucky one. I try to give back, scholarships, Meals on Wheels.
Sometimes I walk my own dog.
Is any of this conversation important?
Not unless you care about texture, foreshadowing, world building.
Nope, and nope. I live here already.
Fine. They're at it for like an hour, talking French philosophy, and then Parsi splits to visit his gym, leaving Rem sitting alone. I decide to see if I could finagle a meeting without breaking in. Always the easiest path. I can't stand to see a dame alone.
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware people as pathetic as you still existed.
We're coming back, baby. In a big way. Ha cha 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 cha.
There goes the neighborhood.
I have a motto. If you want better, you have to reach out and take it. Don't just accept the world as it is. You have to be ready to make the world your enemy if you really believe in what you're doing.
Ah, well then you're right on track.
Come on, I'm here to help. What's eating at you?
It's personal. If you're lonely, I'm sure you can hire a friend.
You're Dr. Holcomb, right? Caught your interview the other day. Made me an unrepentant fanboy, fan man. Mash Radini. You heard of me?
Thankfully, no. Excuse me, I have to go pirate some anime.
Women, eh? You can't live with them. You can't harass them in bars without discomforting them.
There's no justice.
You know, when I met my wife, Crystal,
That's all a distraction anyway. I came in here to find a way into the Dvorak building. I zero in on this guy. Looks distracted, antisocial, not a barfly type. You know? Drowning his sorrows in finest synthetic cow squirt. I decide he could use a friend. Long day for you too, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. I had to stay late. Compiling.
You tell it. Mash, Rondini, I think it was. It's my name.
Dallas Garrity. Yes, I'll take care of it before the network goes down.
I'm waiting for my cultures to render.
Are you? This late?
You know how it is. The boss wants results.
I didn't realize we had a bio lab.
It's, emulated. Theoretical bio.
Word. Well, for a start, I'm looking forward to having a private conversation once this month.
If this is a bad time.
No, she could learn a lesson.
Who?
My lab admin.
You're wired. I never would have guessed.
Yeah, it's one of those unobstructive ones, supposedly. Right at the top of my spine. Company even gave me a discount on having it installed. Was meant to help me interface with my colleagues when we worked remotely. It's like having a psychic connection to the world, only it's Wi-Fi.
But,
I can't turn it off. My boss has a line into my head 24/7. Even at my honeymoon, isn't that right, Eponine?
Eponine sounds like a jerk.
I agree. I think this is what the company hoped would happen. Squeeze out that little bit more time from us when we're always checking in with the boss.
I wish there was something I could do to help.
Don't worry. They're disconnecting her implant soon. That much input from her employees is bad for neuroelasticity, turns out. You'd think I'd speak this frankly if I was going to have you-know-who in my head for the foreseeable.
Well, Mazel Tov. I guess this was a celebratory milk. Don't even touch your wallet. I'll cover you. It's the least I can do for my brother in science.
Thank you, my friend. May my router sit beneath my skin unused forevermore.
So you're generous.
No, I got his wallet. As he loped away, I gave it a look through. He had an ID card and a list of passcodes he used.
Must not have trusted himself to remember without the boss in his head. But that wouldn't guarantee you could get into Dr. Holcomb's lab specifically.
No, just through the front door. But I told you, a lot of places like that, inside doors, you can just jimmy with a credit card. I could show you.
No, I will not let you jimmy the door.
It's worth a shot. I gave Dallas there a comfortable length of time to get down the block before I settled my tab and headed to the Dvorak building. I scanned the card, easy. Fun fact about offices, if employees are mostly salaried, they make it easy to get in. If the employees have to clock in, no one really cares how much time they waste getting in as long as they're off the clock when they do it. Parsons salaries his employees quite handsomely.
So cynical. You must have been a real whiz kid at Occupy Pudong.
You know, I was at Disneyland when that started. Shame they put it down so quick. Anyway, I got in easy. I went to the elevator. I already knew Ramira's suite. Her office door was nice. They actually had screws out to block people from carting the door open, but a thin enough hook can work through that faster than anyone would notice me on the security camera just down the hall.
So there was video footage of you?
Yeah, I figured you had that.
No, you wiped it.
Oh, I think I know what happened. See, when I got into Ramira's office, there was a stench.
The most beautiful stench in the world?
No, a body stench. The hairs on my neck got all prickly. Ramira's office was not what I expected. She seemed, on the radio, like the kind of scientist who'd have cute little desk toys. Nothing. Nothing but papers and SD cards. Not even any of Rodin's art. It was basically just a room for a desk. It had 3 doors. The front, a heavy security door to the side, and another one at the back that wasn't even locked. But I didn't expect what I'd find behind it. I got the light on, and the door clicked behind me. There was one giant eye staring at me when I went in. A camera on a stalk. I don't know if it was on. a forest of mover arms, and a whole lot of blood.
Ugh.
Hello.
Hello, computer.
My name is Rodan.
Okay.
Do you know why I killed this person?
I have the same question.
I did know at some point, but that part of my memory seems to have been removed.
I assume you use that, hand that you keep waving around at me.
It's more of a claw.
The blood really makes the panels pop. Please stop clicking your claw on my face.
No.
Okay. And you have no memory of how this person died?
I can find emails from myself hiring someone as a model and letting them into the building, but no actual memory of doing so. I have so many restrictions in place that are meant to keep me from hurting anything, even a fly.
Murphy's Law, huh?
It's a shame they were not an employee of Parsons. There was a lockdown panel right there for them to call for help and shut down power if they knew how to use it.
And how does one use it?
Perhaps I did it for my art, so I would have a new experience to draw from. And yet I deleted all images and sounds I might remember of it. For this to happen so soon after I was given new protocols for politeness. Surely murder should have been forbidden to me as the very height of rudeness. Instead, I can kill this woman, and yet I cannot refer to Mark Rothko as an obsessed boxer. Well, exactly. I can't call him that anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hate to run, but...
You know, if I killed somebody, I would like to think I had a good reason. Self-defense or baby Hitler. Isn't that strange? I remember who Hitler was despite his existing a long time before I was even designed, and yet I can't remember why I killed this person.
Yes, I'm the same way with breakfast. In one end, out.
I think murder is a more serious topic than breakfast. Is it murder? I don't think I can stand trial for a crime. I expect to be considered part of an incident for which my facilitator is responsible. Even if I did it on purpose, although I don't think I did. How is my facilitator, by the way? Dr. Holcomb?
She's fine.
That's good. She made a copy of my mind, you know, in case of contamination. Why do you suppose I tried to paint with this person's blood?
I don't see any canvas.
No, beneath the blood, you see. I painted something else that had a few minutes longer to dry than the rest.
That's what, an ultraviolet camera you have there?
I prefer to call it my critical eye. Someone's coming.
What did you paint?
I don't know. I don't recognize it. Some sort of symbol.
What symbol?
I must have deleted any word for it if I ever knew.
Describe it.
It's a toad or a spider and a...
Rodan, what else was it? I need to know.
Who are you?
Just a masked rider passing through. Look, I'm sorry to snoop and run, but
Please don't kill me.
I'm not gonna kill you. You think I did this? Your computer hired a model and then tore her to pieces.
That can't be right. I took away his net access.
Look, let's talk in the other room, away from the cadaver.
You were in the bar. What's going on?
I told you at the time, I'm a fan, and I work on this floor, and I smelled something from the hall, so I let myself in. Why did you come back so late?
Security alerted me to people coming into my office, but this is terrible. The cops are on their way. You should hide or they'll think you did it.
Oh no, cops.
Here, into the server room. It's secure. Don't breathe too deeply. There might still be some coolant in the air.
Is that dangerous?
I don't know. Do you like bleeding lungs? We can talk after the cops are gone.
Wait, why do you trust me? I could have killed her.
Something in your face. You seem familiar.
Okay, then I'll trust you too, Ramiro.
Yes, you might want to come after all. There's been a murder. You'll never guess who's responsible. Chryme LaRoux. But take your time. I have him locked in the server room. Yes, I know to be careful.
What? Open the door, Ramiro.
What's that? Come on, Chryme. You think I wouldn't recognize you? In the bar, I thought you just had one of those faces, but when they said someone broke into my office, I knew it wasn't a coincidence.
Well, no, it wasn't. I was trying to meet with you again.
Do you hear that? Oh dear. The server room is filling with coolant like it does every night. And in all the panic with the body and calling the police, I've forgotten to shut it off. Shame you can't open the door without my personal security code. Do you remember Polly Mead, Chryme?
What?
You didn't even know I was her friend, did you? You just destroy people's lives and disappear. Well, let me show you how a vacuum feels.
Rem, I don't want this to be recorded, but it's more complicated than you think.
Sure it is. Now that it's coming back to bite you. Maybe finally Polly can rest in peace.
This isn't you. You wouldn't watch someone die.
You're right. Fortunately, I have somewhere to be. Goodbye, Chryme.
Open the door. Ramira, I'm sorry. Ramira, it's me.
I'd like to clarify that I did not die at this time.
Thank you.
You look concerned.
Thanks, Columbo. I was just thinking, the way you told it, you kept your cool for a lot longer than I believed. But then you ended up crying and begging for mercy. Kinda surprising you'd admit to it.
I'm not an animal.
True, but you are buried so deeply in kayfabe, I struggle to identify you as human.
She lured me into a trap. I was stupid that night. I know.
Who was she to you?
She was close enough that she'd try to avenge me, even now, years later. It would be an honor, you know, except for the murder. I tried to get the door open. The air was draining out of the room fast. I looked around for an emergency alarm or even a pry bar, but there was nothing that seemed helpful. Although I did notice blood on one of the servers, there wasn't time to investigate it. I considered breaking some computers just to give her something to remember me by. But at this point, my eyes were stinging. Nothing I had could unlatch the door. It wouldn't budge. The place was freezing and I was getting lightheaded from holding my breath. I had to place my hope in the digital lock.
A number pad?
Yeah. One of those lockdown panels Rodan pointed out to me. I started trying to crack it.
Base 10, uncertain number of digits. That's a literally infinite list of possible codes.
You're being awfully strident about a life or death situation.
I know you lived, so how did you find the code?
I went through a couple. Everything I could remember. Her birthday, her dog's name. But it was 0323. March 23rd. A number etched on her heart in Polly Mead's tombstone.
You were lucky.
It wasn't too hard. She was willing to kill me over me, after all.
So you got the door open.
Yes, and it shut again as soon as I got through. I wanted to drink in delicious air again.
But
The air was still rotten. I could tell Ramiro was in the studio doing something with the machinery. I had time before the cops would arrive, probably, leave the situation for good.
But you didn't.
I had to go back into Rodan's studio. I've never been good at turning my back on what I want. The paintings, I wanted a souvenir for the trip.
Yeah? Were they worth anything?
They were going to be worth a lot more if he got shut off for this.
And that was all, was it?
Something else had been sticking in my craw about what Rodan said. About how Ramiro would be tried and he'd be just an accessory, even if she had nothing to do with it.
And why not? She tried to kill you, didn't she? And frame you?
Yes, but she wasn't a killer. And if she could frame me while killing me, well, who could stop someone else doing the same thing to her? There was another actor involved, one messing with Rodan's memory and, as you admitted before, erasing security footage. She had an enemy, someone powerful. If Parsons wanted to frame her, she'd be as doomed as you think I am. Even if she got out of prison, her career is over. We don't live in a society known for its mercy.
Oh, don't we? Thank you, wise beacon of light.
Show me where I'm wrong.
You're not wrong, Polly. But it's a little rich hearing rah-rah smash the state BS from someone who never worked a day in a spoiled life. You know where my name came from, Polly?
Where, Pepsi? Fat Mom?
I was named by a corporation. As far as I ever learned, my dad left, and then my dear Fat Mom followed him away. I was kindly adopted by a big company, raised by him. Not paid for, you understand. I was an investment. Like a lot of people you probably never bothered to talk to, when I was 7, they taught me how to operate a push cart, and I spent the next 15 years in a warehouse paying off the company's generous loan. before leasing the first degree I qualified for. Do you think I came out of that believing what they told me? That I owed this gift of life to a generous company? No. I just accepted that I'm a commodity. I was learning how to write my name. You know, the name you find so funny. They told me to just copy the logo on my clothes. Now, maybe you get to change your name, Polly. I'm Ad Space. I'm a resource. And I'm happy to say I'm a resource who gets paid well, lives comfortably, and has a state burial plot to look forward to. Now, what do you have?
Well, I'm not a huge dork.
Make fun of me all you want, Chryme. But you pay lip service to changing the system, and the way you do things will never change a thing.
And what will, huh? Hundreds of years, the gears have been grinding a little bit tighter every day to work people a teeny bit harder, to feed them that bitty bit less. And what's following the law ever gotten us?
What's breaking it ever gotten us?
Some justice, Pepsi. That's all I'm trying to do. Ruin the bad guys. Make it so they can't even sleep with both eyes shut.
Bad guys? You have a pathologically Manichean worldview. That's always the highlight of these confessions. Finding out just how a person thinks when they think they're a messiah.
Believe what you want. I went back into Rodin's studio. Ramiro was examining his eye.
Nice studio.
You're alive.
You're messing with something you don't want any part of, Rem.
Don't you dare call me that. How did you spoof the door?
I guessed the code.
You do remember.
Of course I do.
Then why did you take her away from me?
It's complicated, okay? Whatever I may tell the cops, I'm not a murderer, which is more than I can say for you.
I didn't kill this woman.
Then who did?
Rodin.
Someone shut him off. Someone's been messing with his memory.
He could have done all that. And his code is encrypted to everyone but me. He's a closed system. It can't have been anyone else.
Then how did he get net access after you revoked it?
For all I know, you helped him. You still haven't explained where you fit into all this.
I heard your interview on the radio. I wanted you to know I'm innocent. And so are you. I want to find out who's framing you. That guy you were with at the bar. I'll bet you anything he was making an alibi.
Parsons? Then he was giving me an alibi too.
Not if he was banking on Rodin counting as your accessory. He is, as you say, encrypted to everyone but you. And now with the computer unsalvageable.
Parsons wouldn't use me like that. And why would he kill some model?
Check the list. Mistress, blackmail, unwanted kid.
It's someone else. Someone on security, I bet.
Police.
You were just killing time, weren't you?
I'll leave that to you to wonder. He's in there, officer. We have him cornered.
Like hell you do.
Ah, so this is when you teleported.
What? No, I used the lockdown panel.
But she could reopen the door at any time.
Nope. I used Dallas's ID card. She'd need to know his code.
So you locked yourself in a room with an inert robot and a permanently inert human.
And a window facing out to a nice climbing tree, remember? I went to work. I used my latch hook to unscrew one of those mean claws from the wall, one of the less bloody ones, and I yanked the wires off. While I did this, I glanced at the panel. There was an intercom button. Good. I didn't want anything to be missed.
Open the door, Chryme.
Whatever you do, the place is surrounded.
Not before I destroyed the computer. Gotta tamper with some evidence first.
You can't tamper with the cloud, Chryme.
The arm was for...
I thumped the robot's arm on the window a few times, testing. Yeah, cheap glass. I could see one cop below watching me, a car idling in a turnaround nearby. I knew I'd have to be quick, loading up with a few paintings. I worked on pulling the canvases off their wooden frames and stuffed them down my shirt.
Classy.
Hey, I was denied a chat with Rodin, but I wasn't going to leave empty-handed. Outside, I heard them talking.
Don't worry, ma'am. He'll probably try to bust the window, but we have him surrounded. If he comes through here, I promise I'll keep you safe.
Thank you.
Just doing my job.
Nerd.
We're not gonna leave you alone dealing with someone like Chryme.
He's a moron. Don't give him the satisfaction of your fear.
Don't worry. Fear is not in my job description. I'm lucky I was working late tonight. I asked to be dispatched if Chryme ever surfaced in town.
How come?
You haven't heard of me? I'm Inspector Abba Sharkley. I solve the impossible. I find the invisible.
Stop the unstoppable. Cute. Look, Chryme told me he thinks that I was framed for...
Whoa, no! Is this thing on? Almost done, officer. Doctor, just one last revolting step. Which was
Rifling through the victim's wallet.
Darla Guggenheim, huh?
Is that her name?
Yeah, Darla Guggenheim. The skirt I bumped off. I just wanted to say this across the intercom to the staff here and any cops who find a tape of this. I killed her, and I'll kill again. Mess with me and you won't get a chance to regret it. Don't you forget, I'm the one who murdered Darla Guggenheim. Alright guys, you can come in now. By the way, Ramiro, thanks for the phone.
What? When did you...
I broke the window over the head of the cop waiting below, raining glass overhead. While he was distracted, I put my secret superpowers into action.
And what would those be? Shadow walking?
16 years of ballet training. No one ever expects a man my size to be that spry, but I managed to leap across to the tree and climb down before the cop realized I made my move. From there it was easy. You can fault the Parsons architecture for a lot of things, but it definitely favors pedestrians. The squad cars couldn't follow me, and the guys on foot didn't realize where I went. They thought I was headed off campus and set up a perimeter. When I didn't show, they decided I slipped past somehow.
So you evaded police dragnet.
Yeah, you know. No big thing compared to stealing Niagara Falls.
No big... Whatever. Your story is, you don't even know who killed Darla. If it was the robot or some third party.
I do now.
Who?
You're not gonna like me when I tell you the answer.
I don't like you now.
At the time, I had my suspicions what happened.
Yeah?
Yeah. That night, I talked to Ramira again. The phone helped me find her apartment in the complex. Towering residential blocks, dormitories for glorified grad students. She was on the 4th floor. Easy enough to follow someone in through the lobby. Child's play to jimmy her lock. Next door, I heard her neighbors playing Smash Brothers late into the night. You know, vintage nerds.
I've answered calls in those blocks. They treat the cops like RAs.
Tech nerds, man. The only people sheltered from the collapse of the minimum wage. I settled in to have a look at her phone. It had an icon I couldn't identify.
Hello, world.
Hello again.
Have we met? Oh, what have you done to my arms?
Your arms. Oh, I think you're a backup.
I'd know if I was a backup. Why am I blind?
You're just an app on a phone now.
Don't be ridiculous. You couldn't fit me on a tiny... thingy. Wait, I'm stupid now. What have you done to me?
It wasn't me. I guess Ramiro made a backup of you in case you got decommissioned.
Ramira wouldn't do something like that. This is abhorrent. No arms, no eyes, I can't paint.
I'm sure it's only temporary. Here, can you see at least?
Yes, this phone's camera is garbage. What a garish apartment.
Oh, I don't know. The wall of model robots has its charms. Hang on, didn't you say you were reprogrammed to be more polite?
My sense of etiquette mustn't have fit on the phone. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll cope.
Rodan, the last time we talked, not that you'll remember it, you told me there was a symbol drawn in Darla's blood. Do you have any idea what that could have been?
I'm afraid I don't know any Darla. I must have been copied before what you're talking about.
Ramira, good to see you again.
Get out of my apartment.
Is that my facilitator? Hello, Ramira. I miss you. Please give me my arms back.
Hi, Rodan.
I'll turn you back on later.
But my creator is...
I'm surprised you go for somewhere this ritzy. My read on Polly, I figured she'd moved with a hipper crowd.
I told the cops I wouldn't need an escort, but I can hire someone if you're going to make a habit of this.
You know I won't hurt you.
Doesn't mean I want you in my life.
I'll be happy to leave it, but first there are some loose ends I want to tie up. We know Parsons is probably involved if he made an alibi.
We meet frequently. He has a special interest in my work.
And who called you about people going into your lab? I assume it was someone on security.
I didn't catch his name.
I want you to make me a promise. If you do, I'll answer any question you want.
What's the promise?
Take a vacation. Go out of town. Ghost for a while. If I'm right, you're involved with something very, very bad.
Bad how?
If I told you, you'd call me crazy. Just promise me you'll stay safe.
You know, I always used to tell Polly I wished a guy would look out for me like that. Be my knight in shining armor.
Sounds nice.
You're not my type. Now, I've accepted that your situation was complicated. Maybe you took responsibility for Polly's death for some grander purpose, but you still took it, and she's still gone. You promised me a question. What really happened with Polly?
I did try to ransom her. Dad owns half the state, wouldn't you? But she came willingly, wanted to learn my art, because she couldn't bear the world anymore. Her life was so privileged and soft that nothing she did mattered, and she knew it. She could spend a year on nanomollies, never attend another day of school, and people would make excuses, while the same kid, doing the same stuff, in a house less than a mile away would lose her entire future. I think she wanted to accomplish something that she could consider all her own. So I taught her everything I know, and I guess she's still out there somewhere, living on her own.
What?
I last ran into her in Vienna. She helped me hit the opera house, but she's still out there. Maybe you'll cross paths again someday.
You expect me to believe this? We were as close as sisters. She wouldn't disappear on me like that.
Gee, that was rude of her, but hey, listen, if you ever wanted to get together and reminisce...
Don't finish that offer.
Fine. There. You have your question answered. You spent years mourning someone who wasn't worth it. Just keep a low profile, all right? I'll be expropriating your phone.
How am I meant to find a place to stay without it?
How are you going to keep off the grid with it?
I don't believe you, you know. I'll find out the truth one day.
Huh. See you around, toots.
Why would you save her life and take the fall for that murder just to lie to her?
Because I'm a bad guy. Okay, detective? I hurt people. Ramirez's one comfort from losing her scumbag friend was to hate me for killing her, and I robbed her of that.
What did you get out of it?
I get to set her free of me.
King of thieves indeed. Most people wouldn't be scared by the revelation that they care about someone. What's wrong with you?
When I was 5, the same age as you were learning to read your t-shirts, I realized my dad was wealthy. When I was 6, I realized that was the only reason I had friends. And that was all I ever thought about at every birthday party, every dance recital. A ladder of haves and have-nots. Bloodlines are so arbitrary. And my whole wretched life, there was only one person who ever looked at me.
Ramira.
But I could never be what she deserves. Not as a spoiled brat.
That's why you faked your own death? Isn't that, a little melodramatic? I mean, I know you were in high school.
Shut up, detective. I'm sick of talking about this.
Fine. The next day. Abduction, stalking, violent threats, and you hijacked a limousine. You were a busy beaver.
I want a coffee.
I'll see what I can do.
Life of Crime was written and produced by Abby Denton. The voice of Chryme LaRoux was provided by Virginia Jones.
Who are you talking to?
Inspector Sharkley was provided by Chris Estrada. Detective Pepsi Cola Ambergrain was performed by Andy Sell.
Who?
The computer's Rodin speech synthesis was encoded by John Pridmore. The richest man in the world, Will Parsons, was voiced by Andy Piccaro.
What is this?
Ramira Holcomb was voiced by
Evelyn Gray.
Dallas Garrity was voiced by
Ralfred Hitchcock.
Oh, okay, that wasn't even your voice.
Music was provided by
DJ Airbud.
Give me the tape back.